You turn on your phone and you go online and you see all these all the beautiful people, wonderful souls that follow me, and that really means a lot to me.
Chaka Khan, with her captivating performance of I'm Every Woman, has won the hearts of millions of fans around the world. But behind her resounding success is a life full of challenges and pain. What has this famous diva gone through? Let's find out in the video as we delve into Chaka Khan's journey of ups and downs. First of all, I want to make sure you are a music lover. Comment 1 below if the answer is yes. But before we talk about Chaka's tragedies, we need to first peek into her early life to get a glimpse into the experiences that shaped her and, eventually, the struggles she faced. Chaka Khan's early life. Chaka Stevens was born on the south side of Chicago on March 23, 1953. Her birth name was Yvette Stevens. Her parents were both employed at the University of Chicago, and she was the oldest of 4 children in a family that had both of them working there. In comparison to the upbringing of many R&B performers of her day, hers was a singular one. Even though Chaka's Roman Catholic upbringing prevented her from participating in gospel choirs, she was influenced by jazz in her early musical career, which was an unexpected source. During her childhood, Chaka was exposed to the renowned Billie Holiday through her grandmother's record collection. The young artist was left with an unforgettable impression as a result of this experience. In later years, Chaka would remark on the influence that Holiday had, pointing out the genuine emotion and life experiences that were communicated via her songs. The anguish, agony, and resiliency that Holiday conveyed via her voice struck a chord with Chaka on a profound level, establishing the seeds of inspiration that would eventually blossom in her own professional life. When Chaka was in her adolescent years, she began her path as a musician with more seriousness. Her first band, which she called the Crystalettes, was founded by her and a few of her close friends. The way that the streetlights illuminated the freshly fallen snow outside of their high-rise in Hyde Park served as the inspiration for the name. These teenage artists, who were highly influenced by Gladys Knight, participated in local talent events, where Chaka's powerful voice earned her the nickname Little Aretha. At the same time that Chaka was entering her adolescent years, she was also intensifying her musical endeavors, which coincided with the advent of the Black Power movement in the middle of the 1960s. She became a member of Shades of Black, an African singing group, when she was 13 years old. At this location, she experienced a profound transition, which included the adoption of the moniker that would later become her stage persona that became globally recognized. By bestowing upon her the name Chaka, the head of the group marked a significant event in the process of her identity creation. During this period, Chaka's life was a combination of musical discovery and defiance, similar to that of a teenager. As she sang with several different bands, she honed her art and developed her distinctive style. On the other hand, her defiant nature led her down several routes that may have been quite hazardous. During subsequent interviews, Chaka would go on to describe how she carried a pistol and even practiced with it every week. The consequences of these activities, on the other hand, hurt both her mental and physical health, which ultimately resulted in her giving up the weapon. The decision that Chaka made to leave her parents' home and drop out of high school was a significant turning point in her educational career. She wed Ahsan Khan, a bass musician from East India, in a marriage that was governed by common law. The duo was well known for their matching bleached blonde haircuts, which served as a visual statement that represented Chaka's daring nature. Chaka's musical career persisted in its progression throughout this period. First, she was a member of a band known as Lock and Chain, and then she moved on to perform with another act known as Life. On the other hand, it was her subsequent action that would provide the groundwork for her meteoric climb to fame. Chaka started hanging out with a band named Rufus, who had already amassed a sizable fan base in the Chicago metropolitan region. At the same time that Chaka was working as a file clerk during the day, she was spending her evenings with Rufus, gently integrating herself into their daily lives. She went on to develop a connection with Paulette McWilliams, who was the band's main vocalist. Dance tunes and cover versions of songs by Sly and the Family Stone were the only things that Rufus had in his repertoire at the time. In 1972, when McWilliams decided to quit the band, Chaka moved into the spotlight as their new frontwoman. Chaka was just 18 years old at the time. Because of this change, Chaka's life entered a new phase that she had not previously experienced. Breakthrough and career as a solo artist, Rufus was a relatively obscure trio that had secured a recording contract with ABC Records at the time. All of that changed with their second release in 1974, which was named Rags to Rufus. Their first album, which was just titled after themselves, did not generate much of a buzz. Tell Me Something Good, a song that was penned by none other than Stevie Wonder, was included on the album and subsequently became a big single. In addition to becoming a smash, this song was a game-changer in its own right. Not only did it earn Rufus its first Grammy Award, but it also hit number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, bringing Chaka and the band to the forefront of the national limelight. After Chaka took over as the lead vocalist for Rufus, the band went on to create 6 albums that were certified platinum between the years 1974 and 1979. The band became well known for their electric live performances during this time, and Chaka's strong vocals and captivating stage presence made her the unmistakable star of the show. The band's position in the music business was firmly established as a result of the success of songs such as You Got the Love, Once You Get Started, Sweet Thing, and its song Hollywood. However, as Rufus's fame increased, so did the tensions that had existed within the band, particularly between Chaka and Andre Fisher, the drummer. With time, the tension caused numerous members of the band to leave, which served as a precursor to the changes that were to come. In 1978, Chaka made a courageous move toward her solo career by accepting a deal with Warner Brothers Records. At the time, she was still strongly attached to Rufus. This move marks the beginning of a new chapter in her life, where she will step out of the band's shadow and shine as a solo artist. Will this decision be difficult for Chaka Khan? Let's see how Chaka Khan conquers the music peak. A new chapter in Chaka Khan's musical career. Later that year, she made her debut as a solo artist with the publication of her album Chaka, which was titled after herself. It was the famed pair Ashford and Simpson who were responsible for writing the disco classic I'm Every Woman, which was featured on the album. Not only did the song become an instant sensation on dance floors, but it also became a hit on the charts, which helped propel the record to the category of platinum. Although it was obvious that Chaka's star was rising, she was prepared to shine on her terms. The latter half of the 1970s and the early 1980s were a whirlwind for Chaka, as she attempted to fulfill her obligations to Rufus while simultaneously pursuing her goals as a solo artist. Naughty, published in 1980, What Cha Gonna Do For Me, released in 1981, and Chaka Khan, released in 1982, were some of the other solo albums that she released during this period. Clouds Papillon and the Grammy-winning Bebop Medley were among the songs that were released as a result of these albums. Chaka demonstrated that she had the skill and charm enough to attract audiences on her own, even when she was performing as a solo artist. The studio single Ain't Nobody was included on the album Stompin' at the Savoy Live, which was released in 1983 and featured Rufus and Chaka performing together for the final time. The song was the group's last significant success, and it topped the R&B chart as well as the Billboard Hot 100 list, reaching number 22 on the latter. The dissolution of Rufus that occurred after this release made it possible for Chaka to devote her whole attention to her solo career. This decision would eventually result in some of the most significant achievements that Chaka has ever achieved. 1984 was a milestone year for Chaka when she released the album I Feel For You. Do you know this album? Let's remember how it exploded and see how it helped Chaka become famous and successful. Chaka's turning point. The title track, a cover of a song by Prince, became a massive international hit. Featuring Stevie Wonder on harmonica and Grandmaster Melly Mel on rap, the song topped the US R&B and dance charts, peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100, and even hit number 1 in the UK. The success of I Feel For You catapulted the album to platinum status, solidifying Chaka's place as a solo superstar. It also showcased her ability to blend genres and push boundaries, a trait that would define her career. Throughout the 1980s and into the 1990s, Chaka continued to release successful albums and singles. Songs like This Is My Night, Through the Fire, and her collaboration with Steve on Higher Love kept her name at the forefront of the music industry. Even as trends shifted and the music scene evolved, Chaka remained relevant, adapting her sound while staying true to her roots. Her remix albums were particularly popular, especially in the UK, where she maintained a strong and loyal fan base. In 1990, Chaka collaborated with Ray Charles and Quincy Jones on the track I'll Be Good to You, which topped the R&B chart and won her yet another Grammy Award. Her 1992 album, The Woman I Am, produced hits like Love You All My Lifetime and You Can Make the Story Right, proving that she still had the magic touch. Throughout the 1990s, Chaka also contributed to various soundtracks and worked with other artists, ensuring that her influence in the music industry remained strong. The late 1990s saw Chaka briefly signing with Prince's NPG Records, but it wasn't until 2003 that she released her autobiography, Chaka Through the Fire, giving fans a deeper insight into her life and career. In 2004, she returned to her jazz roots with the album Chaka Khan, a project that reflected her versatility as an artist. The album Funk This, released in 2007 and produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, was hailed as a comeback and won a Grammy for Best R&B Album. The album featured hits like Angel and the duet Disrespectful with Mary J. Blige, which topped the US dance singles chart. Chaka's career has been defined by her ability to cross genres and collaborate with a diverse range of artists. She has performed on Broadway, contributed to numerous soundtracks, and participated in tribute albums. Chaka's influence extends beyond music. In recognition of the significant influence she has had on the music business, Berklee College of Music bestowed upon her an honorary doctorate in music in the year 2004. Numerous honors have been bestowed upon Chaka in acknowledgement of the significant contributions she has made to popular music. Her accomplishments were recognized with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in the year 2011. As a member of Rufus and as a solo artist, she has also been considered for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She has received nominations for both of these categories. Even throughout the past few years, Chaka has not stopped performing and releasing singles and albums. In 2019, she released her first full-length album, titled Hello Happiness. The album includes the track Like Sugar, which was her first release in 12 years. Additionally, she has performed at high-profile events such as the NBA All-Star Game and has been on prominent television series such as The Masked Singer. However, as Chaka proceeded to achieve new heights in her solo career, she was simultaneously contending with personal conflicts and external pressures that posed a risk of derailing her accomplishment. There was a lot of difficulty involved in making the shift from being a member of a band to becoming a solo artist. It was Chaka herself who stated that the additional attention and responsibility that came with being a solo act may be overwhelming at times. She had feelings of isolation as a result of the loss of the camaraderie she shared with her bandmates in Rufus, and the demands inside the music industry only contributed to the difficulties she was already facing. However, there is a silver lining in her relationship with legendary producer Arif Mardin, who produced her first 6 solo albums. How important is Arif Mardin in Chaka's life? Let's find out. Arif Mardin's role in Chaka. A significant impact was made by Arif Mardin on Chaka Khan's career, particularly during the early stages of her shift from being a member of the band Rufus to pursuing a career as a solo artist. Mardin, a well-known music producer, has collaborated with a wide range of well-known singers. He was also responsible for producing Chaka's first solo album, Chaka, 1978, which featured the smash song I'm Every Woman. Chaka Khan was able to fully explore her great vocal powers with the assistance of Mardin, which resulted in the creation of a particular style that was both sensuous and forceful, and unique. Khan was able to expand his musical horizons beyond R&B and into other genres, such as pop, jazz, and funk. Because of Mardin's creative and musical visionary abilities, Chaka Khan's career has been marked by great success, but it has also been marked by controversy and disagreement from the public. What controversies have surrounded her career? Copyright issues, dedication issues, or something else? Let's find out more about her story. Controversy in Chaka's career. During the past several years, a few of these episodes have brought her back into the public eye, and not necessarily for the most favorable reasons. When Chaka made news in 2023 with her forthright statements regarding Rolling Stone's ranking of the 200 greatest singers of all time, she became herself in one of the most recent disputes that she found herself involved in. Before Andrew Goldman, the host of the podcast, notified Chaka of her rating, she was ignorant of the position she had, which was that of number 29. Her response to this news and the statements she made afterward garnered a great amount of attention, which resulted in a string of headlines that brought her reputation, which was otherwise excellent, into disrepute. The moment Chaka was presented with the fact that she was included on the list, she did not hold back her emotions. Her initial reaction was one of dismissal, and she remarked that the list did not have any significance for her. She stated, "These individuals do not quantify or validate me in any way." Her lack of interest, on the other hand, resulted in strong criticism very immediately when the host presented further information regarding the list. It was clear that she agreed with Aretha Franklin's position at the top, and she proclaimed that it was well earned. On the other hand, she was far less favorable when she was talking about other musicians on the list, specifically Mary J. Blige, Adele, Mariah Carey, and Joan Baez. The criticisms that Chaka made about these musicians were direct and, at times, cutting to the bone. For example, she observed that Joan Baez, who was ranked 189th, was a fine writer but was unable to sing. On the other hand, her response to Carey's fifth-place placement was that it must be Piola. Nevertheless, Chaka's criticism did not end there. When she found out that Adele was placed 22nd, which was higher than her, she made a caustic remark while saying, "Okay, I quit." The most harsh criticism, on the other hand, was reserved for Mary J. Blige, who was ranked number 25 on the list. "He is as blind as a bat," Chaka said, expressing his amazement at the situation. "Hearing aids are required for them. These are the children of Helen Keller, if they are indeed." This was not the first time that Chaka had voiced her dissatisfaction with Mary J. Blige's performance of the song Sweet Thing, which was originally performed by Rufus. She had earlier stated that Blige had made a mistake with the song, and she had criticized the singer for recording it early in the morning when her voice was not at its best. Despite the roughness of her statements, Chaka made it clear that her connection with Blige was strong and that they were able to communicate openly with one another. Despite this, the media leapt on her statements almost immediately, seeking to create the impression of a feud when there was none. Since the criticism that surrounded these words became more intense, Chaka decided to confront the subject in public. She then acknowledged her sorrow for swallowing the bait and allowed herself to be pitted against other artists in a post that she made on Instagram. She expressed her regret to anyone who had been offended by her statements and understood that being an artist is not about competing with other artists. It was highlighted by Chaka that her purpose had never been to inflict harm, and she reaffirmed her dedication to uplifting other people. Another significant controversy in Chaka's life involved her long-standing feud with rapper Kanye West. Do you know this rapper? What is his relationship with Chaka? What is the reason for this feud? Let's find out. Another controversy with rapper Kanye West. This disagreement began in 2004 when Kanye West used a sample of her vocals from the album Through the Fire in his song Through the Wire. One of the things that upset Chaka at the time was the fact that her voice was sped up without seeking her consent. Throughout the years, Chaka voiced her disapproval in some interviews, which contributed to the simmering of the hatred. Nevertheless, by the year 2023, Chaka had decided to throw away the animosity. She added that her displeasure originated from the fact that she was not familiar with the rap genre at the time, and that if she had comprehended it better, she would not have been as unhappy as she was. The long-standing enmity came to an end when she confessed that hoarding the grudge was foolish, and that she was finished with it. This marked the conclusion of the confrontation. Chaka's controversies extended beyond just her public comments and feuds with other artists. Chaka also has a story related to Diddy. What is this story? Let's find out together. The story about Diddy. Her daughter Indira Khan threw gasoline to the fire in 2024 when she responded to a video of musician Diddy, better known as Sean Combs, going after his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. The video demonstrated Diddy's behavior against Ventura. Indira was forced to come up when the video, which rapidly received global attention, surfaced. She disclosed an instance in which Diddy had mistreated Chaka in the past. Indira claims that Diddy had once raged and screamed at her mother in a fit of fury, and when her younger brother sought to help, Diddy's security team punched him. Indira's information comes from the fact that Diddy had attempted to intercede. Indira feels that Diddy's legal difficulties are a type of retribution for the way he has treated her family in the past, and she voiced her joy at seeing Diddy suffer legal difficulties. Chaka delivered a statement in reaction to the accusations made by her daughter, in which she reflected on the episode as well as the larger consequences of violence and abuse. A reference was made to the fact that she had experienced personal difficulties, and she underlined the need for inner calm, meditation, and prayer in the process of conquering negativity. Chaka's journey in marriage and family has been a winding one. What has she been through? What is the personal life of a famous diva like? The answer will be revealed soon. Chaka's journey through marriage and family. In 1970, when she was only 17 years old, she tied the knot for the first time with Chaka Khan. The marriage did not last long and ended in divorce not long after it was established. Her future family life was shaped by the brief relationship, although it was only temporary. Chaka had her daughter Indira Malini, who was born in the early 1970s, as a result of her relationship with Rahsaan Morris. During this period, Chaka's responsibility as a mother started to take shape, so establishing the groundwork for her subsequent experiences with her family. Chaka Holland tied the knot with Richard Holland in 1976, a relationship that would have a tremendous influence on her professional life. The impact that Holland had on Chaka was clear to see. According to reports, he attempted to tame her confrontational stage demeanor, which was a demand that Chaka was not willing to fulfill. This tension was a contributing factor in the breach that developed between her and the band Rufus, notably with Andre Fisher, the drummer. In 1979, the marriage, which had been pressured by both professional and personal issues, came to an end. In 1980, Holland filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences as the reason for his decision. Chaka looked to her music as a source of comfort and motivation while she was going through the aftermath of her second marriage. It was around this time that she worked with Ike Turner, which she referred to as a moment of emotional and artistic transformation. Through the guidance of Turner, she was able to successfully handle the challenges that came with the divorce and continue to carve out her future in the music industry. Following her breakup with Holland, Chaka maintained a relationship with a Chicago-based educator for a short time. This particular relationship, on the other hand, did not endure, which resulted in Chaka making a huge adjustment to her life. In the middle of the 1980s, she relocated to Europe with the hopes of beginning a new life away from the glare of her profession in the United States. In the beginning, she made her home in London, and then she moved to Germany, where she eventually bought a house and lived in a charming town in the Rhine Valley, as well as in Mannheim. From the rush and bustle of her prior prominence, she sought stability and personal development at this time of her life. This period was distinguished by her yearning for stability. There have also been rumors that have made news concerning her personal life. The rumor that Chaka had a romantic relationship with Prince persisted, and was particularly persistent. On the other hand, Chaka made it clear in an interview that she had never shown any attraction to him. Their initial encounter was marked by a misunderstanding that was both humorous and somewhat unpleasant. The teenage musician Prince had contacted Chaka when she was in San Francisco, pretending to be the legendary funk musician Sly Stone. Chaka was in San Francisco at the time. When Chaka arrived at the studio, he was surprised to see Prince himself there. He had been fooled by his mimicry. When she left the conference, she felt as though she had been duped, and her immediate emotion was one of fury. Chaka and Prince finally became partners, and they worked together on the smash song I Feel For You. This was although they had a difficult beginning. However, these tragedies are not all. Chaka has reminisced and revealed her childhood tragedy. Are you curious about it? Don't leave the screen, this is an interesting story. Chaka's turbulent youth. In the year 2017, Chaka disclosed the turbulent adolescent years that she had experienced. A rebellious attitude and active participation in the civil rights struggle were the driving forces behind her decision to flee her home when she was only 16 years old. An additional strain was placed on her relationship with her family, as a result of her choice to join the Black Panther Party, which was motivated by her dedication to social justice. Her behavior included skipping school, having run-ins with the FBI, and being detained on many occasions. She experienced a great amount of emotional strain as a result of this time of discontent and resistance. Chaka stated that when she first started singing her renowned hymn, "I'm Every Woman," she suffered from deep-seated fears and felt that she was not deserving of the strength that the song symbolized. Because her sadness was so severe, the only thing that could give her comfort while she was on tour was the music of Joni Mitchell. This helped her deal with the feelings of isolation and mental pressure that she encountered when she was on the road. In addition, Chaka also faced the harsh challenges of being a mother. Why do I say harsh? This must have stemmed from the troubles that her son, Damien Holland, brought. The challenges Chaka faces as a mother. When Chaka Holland's son, Damien Holland, was accused of murder in 2006, the tragedy that had been plaguing Chaka's life became a more personal turning point. Christopher Bailey, who was 17 years old at the time of the event, was shot and later died as a result of his injuries. As she testified on behalf of her son, Chaka, she stood by his side. In his statement, Damien stated that the gunshot was an accident. Although he was found not guilty of the criminal charges, he was held to be responsible in the ensuing civil suit. Chaka experienced a tremendous emotional hit as a result of the circumstance, which added to the number of difficulties she encountered in her role as a mother. Chaka's professional life was not without its battles either. What hardships did she go through in her career life? How did it affect Chaka, and how did she overcome it? Let's dive into the story to discover interesting things. Chaka's professional life. She ran into severe disagreements with her record company, which had a difficult time classifying her and managing her many different abilities. She ultimately found herself in conflict with the business as a result of their inability to see the big picture. A particularly depressing occasion for Chaka was when an A&R person recommended that she should sound like Mary J. Blige. Chaka retained this in her memory. The reply that Chaka gave was direct. It would have been more appropriate for the label to employ Blige if they wanted that sound. The music industry's inability to comprehend and promote her one-of-a-kind artistic style was a source of her greater dissatisfaction, which included this conflict. Chaka's life became even more complex as a result of her struggles with addiction. The majority of her adult life was spent struggling with substance abuse, including cocaine, heroin, and alcohol. Remarkably, she was able to compartmentalize these concerns and continue her job despite the upheaval that she was experiencing in her personal life. She used periods of sobriety and herbal medicines to counteract her drug use, and she described her capacity to combine her work life with her addiction as a sort of survival. She also acknowledged her ability to successfully manage her addiction. She was able to negotiate the highs and lows of her addiction with the assistance of this strategy, which was paired with a focus on health. Another layer of grief was added to Chaka's life when Prince passed away in the year 2016. Prince's struggle with fentanyl addiction was not brought to her attention until after he had passed away. After he passed away, Chaka and her sister Yvonne decided to seek therapy for their reliance on the same substance. Recognizing the necessity of taking extreme steps to save their lives, they decided to cancel performances and publicly recognize the hardship they were going through. As a significant approach for Chaka to prevent sliding back into previous patterns, she found that remaining busy and focused on her work was the most effective way to do so. In the process of contemplating her path through addiction and recovery, Chaka realized that the challenges she faced were an important component of her development. In her view, the events that transpired were essential learning opportunities that enhanced her emotional comprehension and fortified her determination. At the same time that Chaka emphasized that she did not focus on regrets from the past, she exhibited a sense of acceptance and resolution. The alternative is for her to concentrate on the here and now as well as the future, and she does so while maintaining a good attitude. Today, Chaka has decided to adopt a teetotal lifestyle, which includes not just being a vegan, but also committing herself to a better way of living. One of her few remaining vices is a pack of cigarettes, which is a very tiny indulgence in a life that is otherwise strictly regulated. Because of her son's issues with addiction, she has obtained permanent custody of her granddaughter and has been parenting her in recent years. She has taken on a prominent role as a guardian, raising her granddaughter. The fact that Chaka considers this obligation to be her biggest investment demonstrates her dedication to establishing a secure and supportive environment for her family. What do you think about this character? How did she deal with the tragedy? Leave your thoughts in the comments section. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting updates. Thank you and see you in the next videos.